Hi, welcome to this webinar presented by New Jersey Hope and Healing. In this webinar, we're going to be talking about our Return to Campus series and focusing on long-term coping skills. So, what are coping skills? Short-term coping skills, which are discussed in a different webinar in this playlist, it'll be linked below in the description. Those are skills, techniques, or activities that can help you get through a tough moment. Long-term coping skills are choices that you can make in your daily life that often help to reduce stress and make life more fulfilling. Sometimes people refer to this as self-care. So coping and taking care, these are a lifestyle. So think about your body like a car. You need a car to be full of gas if you're going on a road trip. Think about your day. If you start your day, which is, like our road trip in this metaphor, if you start your day with an empty tank of gas or even a half tank of gas, there's only so far that you can get in your day. We really need to fill up that tank to the fullest. And, how can we do that? Taking care of ourselves is a really important way to get there. So short-term coping skills can help us out in a tough moment. But when we think of long-term coping, we think about a lifestyle that helps us prioritize our needs and start that day with a full tank of gas. So in this presentation, we'll review a few areas that you might consider when deciding what you want to incorporate in your life. And we'll start with values. The first step in understanding what is important to you is getting as clear as possible on what you value and what you crave in your life. And it's okay if this changes over time. Actually, it's really common for values to change, especially as we enter different life phases and stages. So, just focus on what's important to you in this moment. The next slide is going to list some common values in no particular order. I encourage you to pause the screen and perhaps write a few down that resonate with you. If nothing on the screen jumps out at you as being one of your values, think about what you do value and write down what comes up for you as what's important to you. So here, go ahead, pause the webinar and write down one or a few values that are really important for you to continue incorporating. Okay, so how to incorporate values into your life. It is impossible to do it all. It's possible you've tried. It's really tough. And often, doing it all doesn't even bring us happiness. So it's okay. So think about it this way. What do you want to do with your 24 hours a day and 7 days a week? What are the important things that you must do? What free time do you have and how do you want to fill it? It's rare for people to only have one value. If we did, it might be easy we just would fill all our time with that one value. But we're complex humans. So we have to balance the different things that are important to us. School, work, caretaking, fun, friends, time at the gym, spirituality, like whatever it is, we all have our things. So for example, if friendship rejuvenates your soul and makes you feel complete and you get a lot out of social interaction, then it would be worthwhile to put free time into your friendships. So for you, that might mean putting away all distraction when you do your homework so that you can really focus on getting your homework done and out of the way so you can meet a friend for dinner later or have a FaceTime call. Does that mean that you have to sacrifice some Netflix time? Maybe on that day it does, if what you want to balance is school and friendship time. Also consider the importance of your academics. It might seem appealing to engage in every social opportunity that presents itself. If you, have an opportunity to do something social every day, especially after a year and a half of being isolated and apart from people in a physical sense, you really have to consider, though, if you value academics in addition to friendship, then how can we get that balance? How can we balance the value of academics with the value of friendship? And at the end of the day, we know that it's tough to make these decisions. There's no right or wrong ways to prioritize values and spend our time. You really have to do what works for you. And, speaking of that, given that there's a lot for you to balance, both given your responsibilities and commitments, as well as your list of values, we'll review some considerations for how you can think about balancing it all. We'll discuss scheduling, boundaries, and flexibility. So scheduling tips. These are some tips that have worked for me. So you might want to try some of them as well. So the first one Block off times on your calendar and commit to them. So, you know, you might not remove a class or a meeting with a professor, for example, on your calendar. If somebody's like, hey, can we have a call during this time? You would say, no, I'm busy. So consider this time in that same way. If something comes up that, you don't have to do, don't schedule over your time that you've set aside for your values. And maybe even decide on the day and time that you will consistently plan out time for your values. So for me, I like to sit with my calendar on Sundays and plan out when I'm going to go to the gym during the week. I also text friends that I want to catch up with and plan phone calls for specific days. And when I figure that out, it all goes on my calendar. So Sunday's kind of my day where I reset and I really think about what values I want to incorporate during the week and exactly when I'm going to get to them. And when you're scheduling, be mindful of the times that you have to dedicate to your basic needs, such as eating and sleeping. So, you know how much time you need for sleep, and we're going to add a sleep video into this webinar series as well. So check that out. Make sure that what you're scheduling doesn't interfere with those basic needs like eating and sleeping. Let's go over boundaries. So boundaries can be a way to protect or maintain our time. Sometimes when obligations come up, we feel pressured to put aside our values, and having set time aside for them in our calendar can remind us that it's important to honor our values, keep boundaries around that, and maintain those activities. It can be really easy for these things to go, to the wayside, and halfway through the semester, you can think like, oh shoot, like I really wanted to go to the gym this semester. Where did that go? It's halfway through the semester. I like working out. Why haven't I gone? Putting it on your calendar, keeping those boundaries can be a really useful way to make sure that we keep it. So, treat your self-care times like a meeting or a class. We mentioned that on the previous slide. Note that it's easy for other things to take over and seem more important in the moment. And then the value times become more infrequent, right? Like we said, halfway through the semester comes and you're like, how did I not spend any time on that? Make it a priority to spend that time. Keep your boundaries and stick to your time so that they actually happen. So once they're on your calendar through scheduling, boundaries can help make sure you actually get to them. And let's talk about flexibility for a moment. You're a college student. That means every week might look different. That is okay. The amount of time you spend on your values in the first week of the semester versus week 4 versus midterms versus finals, those might all look different. But know your values and know what's important to you, because even that is really important to keep up in the busiest weeks. Those are what we mean when we talk about long-term self-care. If you have a routine where you know that you're going to take care of yourself by tending to, whatever it is, your friendship, your spirituality, having fun, curiosity, learning, really whatever it is, spending time in the community or volunteering, if those are the things that light up your soul and that are important to you, making the time for them, even in the busiest weeks, will contribute to that long-term self-care. What are your non-negotiables? If working out, for example, is a non-negotiable for you, maybe during finals week, you can't go as many times as you would like, but can you still go even if it's less times than usual? If you like to go twice a week, can you still go once? Maybe you like to work out for 40 minutes. Can you work out for 15? Can you just walk outside for 20 minutes? Perhaps, a surprise assignment is taking longer than you expected. Can you still take a break to meet up with a friend, even if it's for less time? Maybe you come home a little earlier than you planned and you still get your work done, right? So how can we bring flexibility into a valued life? Taking care of ourselves on a regular basis. So just like with all the other videos in the series, I will link all of these links in the video description. I'll walk through some of them briefly. You can contact us, get in touch with us, Instagram, email. This link, the third bullet, you can request a free individual check-in with one of our crisis counselors. More videos in this YouTube series and all the other ones, other webinars that we've done on our YouTube channel. There's more resources. These are some pamphlets and flyers that crisis counselors have created, and also some additional webinars you can find on there as well. A variety of topics. I really encourage that you check them out. And also, I've provided the contact information for a text line and a calling hotline to receive emotional support. Please feel free to use any and all of these resources. And I hope you take care and have a great semester.